Hello, dear listener. Thank you for stopping in again. So, today I have a tale called Stranger Than Fiction Investigations. It is the very first part of a much, much larger tale. But today we'll only talk about the first part. This is told from the female protagonist's viewpoint, private investigator Azreala Rutgers. And yes, she's a psychic PI. Without further ado, let's dive in, shall we? It was a long drive from Michigan to Arizona, but I didn't mind. It gave me time to reflect on my current case, which was a doozy. My phone jingled in my Jeep's cup holder. Hey, Dad. Honey, please be careful. I would rather we send somebody else to deliver this stuff to the kid. Dad's voice was filled with concern. I knew he had not wanted me involved once I informed him of everything that Rosie had told me. But what was I supposed to do? He and I had a rather unique skill set for our line of work. After everything that I learned, I couldn't just let this go. And Dad was barely in any shape to meet with prospective clients, let alone travel all the way to some carnival in a backwater Arizona town and hunt for a kid who didn't want to be found. Not that I blame the kid. Yeah, and who else is bringing his dead grandmother with them? I had been working cases by myself since I turned 18. Dad, though, still thought of me as a little girl, even though I now did all the field work and a good deal of the back work for our PI agency Stranger Than Fiction Investigations on my own. I heard him sigh. Just be careful, get in and get out. I love you, hurry home. The line clicked off and it was my turn to sigh. Dad had probably gotten a clairvoyant flash, which meant I would most likely be walking into a problem. I was just thankful I ended up running into the ghost who was currently riding shotgun on this trip. Grandma Rosetta Brambleson, or Grandma Rosie. She was the matriarch of the Brambleson clan, the folks who hired Dad and I to find their missing son. Rosie's grandson and her favorite out of the Brambleson family was Matthew Brambleson. Matthew was 13 years old and had up and disappeared one day from the Brambleston estate. Rosie ended up solving the entire case for me. Now all that was left to do was find the kid and hand him his inheritance, which she had guided me to. Being able to see the dead and sense other people's emotions were a plus in private investigation. It set us apart in the field. Dad was technically the one who had had the best rapport with the dead. However, we both have our own unique set of psychic gifts. I blew out a long breath as I thought back to the Bramblesons. They were a stressful bunch, and I felt my hands tighten on the steering wheel thinking about them. Even during the initial consultation at our office, they seemed downright shifty. Not to mention that I was extremely curious as to why they had come all the way from Nebraska to Michigan to hire private investigators. Our reputation was good, but it wasn't that good. When we asked, they gave a vague excuse. Quite a few times they either withheld information or outright lied to us. Dad and I had only agreed to take the case due to a hunch that the kid was being mistreated before his disappearance. It also sounded a lot like there was an inheritance involved in the family's desperation to find the kid. I thought maybe the kid had run away from home to see the world or for a better life, but something about this case had a creepy feel to it. Ugh. After my little recon adventure, I had discovered why, and thankfully I met Rosie. All that the Bramblesons had said was that Matthew had disappeared around a week ago and that he had an unusual skin condition. They refused to go into detail about said condition and only gave us a halfway decent description of the kid. They said he was 13 with sandy brown hair, small and frail for his age, and hadn't gotten out much. Due to his condition, he had been homeschooled and didn't have any real friends outside of the family. After the consultation visit and the severe lack of information, I had decided to go and do some snooping on both the family and around their property. Once the Bramblesons also refused to let us look at the kid's room on the grounds of religion, weird, it was right around this time that I began wondering just how many red flags these people were going to send up. Even Dad was weirded out by this bunch. Dad had seen a lot of crazy stuff in his time as a PI, but this case put him on edge too. Dad, or PI Jeffrey Rutgers to our clients, started Stranger Than Fiction investigations when I was 6, after Mom left us and we had a hard time making ends meet. Now, Dad was a barely functional alcoholic, but he tried to keep himself together. I stuck around mostly to make sure he was okay. Thankfully, Dad doesn't need to be sober to speak with the dead or see the future. I just wish more than anything he would go back to AA. I appreciate you helping Moonbear, but please don't make your father worry, Azreala. He loves you very much, you know. Grandma Rosie had turned to eye me, pronouncing my name perfectly, which was a challenge for most people. She arched an eyebrow. I sighed and kept my eyes on the road. I had a feeling I needed to go and see Matthew Brambleson for myself. I didn't know why. I just knew I needed to go to Harper's Sanctuary and find him. One of those gut instinct things, I couldn't tell you why, but I was absolutely certain that there was something waiting for me in Arizona. I could feel myself frowning at the blacktop. You're going to get wrinkles if you keep that up. Rosie smiled, and her tone was teasing. I'm going to find Matthew, and I'm going to give him what's rightfully his. But there is something pulling at me, and I know something important is waiting for me in Arizona. If I don't go now, it's going to bother me. So I'm going. Maybe it's nothing but a new popcorn flavor. Who knows? I shrugged. I knew better, but I needed to lighten my mood. While I drove, my mind drifted back to Grandma Rosie and I's meeting. I had driven down to Nebraska and had been sneaking around the Brambleson house in Anchorage to get more intel when Grandma Rosie had snuck up on me by their sidewall gardens. That's all for today. Hope you enjoyed the tale. See you again soon. Thanks for listening, guys. Stay shiny.